You are welcome to HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. Bonjean on return to the stand did start off emphasizing that the language of the statute ought to be followed in order to serve the intent of the statute of limitations. According to her, during the enactment of the law, there is evidence of intent to allow for retroactivity, which was then removed simply because things just cannot operate that way. In order to serve the purpose of the enactment, therefore, court has got to recognize the non-retroactivity of the amendments to the statutes of limitations, which leaves the existing laws during the period when R. Kelly is said to have committed these crimes functional. This would mean that the government was wrong to indict R. Kelly for these charges, and that the trial court was wrong to allow this to progress to a point of conviction which should never have occurred. And her position is that the U.S. Appeal Court should see this differently and consider those general principles to make a more informed decision. Bonjean concluded on that point, stating she knows that the court is well equipped with all necessary information from both the government and the defense to reach a decision on that. Returning to the overcharged 20-year sentence, Bonjean clarifies that the government attorney was simply deflecting when he stated that the district judge Harry Leinenweber did speak a lot about the 31531A factors, and that he therefore suspects it is what the judge could have based on to issue an above guidelines 240 months, yet he also tries to put words in the judge's mouth that he actually didn't say. The state attorney spoke of reference to hush money R. Kelly allegedly paid towards Jane Doe and her family, his alleged intimidating behavior and more, but according to Jennifer Bonjean, that is not what the evidence shows, and Jane Doe actually said nothing of the sort. Bonjean reminded the Court of Appeal that Jane Doe actually did testify that there was no such a thing as hush money that was paid to her or to her family to prevent them from testifying in court. The family actually did say they had their own reasons for wanting to not cooperate with this investigation, and nothing of this sort happened. This should therefore nullify the assumptions by government that defendants' conduct in any way barred the family of Jane Doe from testifying in court. The government is unfortunately focusing the appeal court in that direction, but the district judge didn't even mention it at all. Bonjean, in her own words, then says at no point did the district judge say I am going to give him an above guidelines range because of his interactions with Jane Doe 1 or her family. Bonjean then affirms that the videotapes which were brought to court in what she terms as a wild goose chase, and that were played in front of everybody in the courtroom and charged on the indictment, did not at all contain any form of CP, yet they seemingly are the sole reason the district judge made the rather rushed and unthought-through decisions to overcharge R. Kelly with a 20-year sentence above the standard guidelines range. For your information, therefore, according to Bonjean's statements, Jim DeRogatis and convicted fraudster Michael Avenatti's videotapes, which were presented as empiric evidence hoping they would help put the last nail in R. Kelly's coffin, were nothing more than a goose chase, one that did not prove even their primary purpose, which was that R. Kelly engaged in the production of CP.
Earlier this month, we uncovered and recovered a videotape of over 40 minutes in length.
This could mean that these two haters of R. Kelly fooled the government into believing they had something workable, and ended up serving the entire court with a few minutes of adult content to watch without having to pay with their all fans' credit cards. Bonjean concluded her rebuttal saying that while the district judge chose to remain a little ambiguous on why exactly he decided that R. Kelly be sentenced to 240 months, which gives him many months above the standard court guidelines range, he needed to be specific on why he did this, because otherwise, how is the defendant supposed to defend himself on this matter if he wishes to argue against the above guidelines range? Thanking the court, she steps off the stand. Bonjean. Looking at what transpired in the 30 precious minutes the appeal judges listened to R. Kelly's Chicago appeal, the government representative seemed unprepared and was caught off guard most of the time, trying to sail a narrative rather than stick to the facts. And when he was caught pants down, he opted to withdraw his own statements and pretend he was saying something else. Either he had not prepared his submission properly, or he was simply out of what to say to defend the rather harsh sentencing the trial judge had made, sending R. Kelly to prison for a whooping 240 months for no good reason. We could choose to say that maybe if the Chicago District Judge Harry Leinenweber had been clear on why he issued an above guidelines sentence, then it would have been easier for the state attorney to defend, but again, What good reason could the judge have issued in a case where the government generally failed to provide sufficient evidence to implicate the R&B king? In fact, many who are only learning now that even the videotapes which were hyped a great deal in the media by the likes of Michael Avenatti and Jim DeRogatis did not contain any form of CP, other than consensual nude images of adults having threesomes, are now wondering why R. Kelly was convicted at all in Chicago. Another serious question is why the people who attempted to mislead the court by introducing such meaningless and fruitless video footage have not been held accountable. If Bonjean had not been observant to see this missing piece of the information, R. Kelly would be hopelessly lying in prison awaiting his death. Thanks to Bonjean. Meanwhile, at this point, R. Kelly's attorney is not contesting the entire case, which also sounds vague, but all she is saying as per now is be fair. If you must convict my client, just be fair and follow the legal guidelines. And this should tell you how much the government believes they have the right to end people's lives and careers when and as they please. While they already secured a wrongful conviction in Chicago that does not add up in many ways, they also want the court to issue a long and endless sentence way above the guidelines such that R. Kelly may die in prison. And this is a confirmation that in fact their interest has always been to frame R. Kelly and lock him up forever. According to James Blackburn. Let's go, Bonjean. You are doing a good job defending the innocent. For sure you have given the appeal court judges something to think about. The state attorney was actually fidgeting and fumbling with his own statements. It's a shame it had to take this route, cause had the government chosen to be fair, this case would have ended in the trial court and we wouldn't have to listen to the state attorney make himself look incompetent. In all they do, they ought to remember that the statutes of limitations were enacted for a good reason, and that they have supreme purpose. These laws therefore ought to be respected. During the period when R. Kelly is said to have allegedly committed the said crimes, the statutes of limitations were already present and should therefore work even today, because that is the legal regime R. Kelly was operating in. For example, marriages that were blessed by the church and mosques and recognized by government in the past years when marrying a 15-year-old was not against the laws have not been reversed only because the age of consent has changed. Laws cannot sever the purpose if they are allowed to be of retroactive nature. According to McCuty, I actually did take time to listen to the audio from the Chicago appeal, and after Jennifer Bonjean had made her first speech, the state attorney took the floor, but he kept sticking to the invalid conviction and subsequent sentencing. Bonjean, on the other hand, looked well drilled and did a good job stating the facts. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.